Hello, I'm Benthelooney, and Godzilla! Yes, finally! The movie that I've been waiting 8 years for finally decided to come out of the woodworks. It's none other than the newest Godzilla movie, made by our friendly friends at Legendary Pictures. That's right, Americans made this one. But, before we kill it with fire like we did that other movie, let's actually make sure it's worth us going through the effort of committing arson. Well, I actually went to see it, and is it any good? Let's take a look and find out. Here is my review of Godzilla. So, right off the bat, this actually has a Japanese person as a main character, and his name is Dr. Shirazawa, which is the name of the scientist from the original Godzilla movie. That indicates that this movie is made by people who actually have seen a Godzilla movie, so we're off to a great start. Then again, that other movie was off to a great start as well. Just as long as it doesn't cut to Matthew Broderick butchering Gene Kelly songs, then I'll be more than satisfied with it. So, Dr. Shirazawa investigates a mining accident, and he discovers these giant cocoon-like things. However, one of them has hatched and has burrowed out of the ground. If you're a Godzilla fan, you know that this means trouble. We then cut to Japan, where this guy who stars in this show that everybody loves and yet I don't give a crap about is doing some sciencey things. So, he goes to work at his nuclear power plant, and his wife and her co-workers go into the big nuclear corridor to investigate something. However, seismic activity happens, and the guy who stars in this show that everybody loves but I don't give a crap about has to steal his wife and her co-workers in the corridor before nuclear gas kills everybody. It's now 15 years later, and the son of the guy who stars in this show that everybody loves but I don't give a crap about is returning home from Navy duties, and then he has to go to Japan to get his dad out of jail. Why? Because Daddy feels that the accident that happened 15 years ago was no accident. And, seeing as how this is a monster movie, he's right. However, the son thinks his dad is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and he doesn't believe him. Oh, come on! That's the first rule of a science fiction movie. Always trust the crazy guy. So, the father and son head to their home, which is in a quarantine zone, to find the information that the father had on floppy disks. Now, you kids probably don't know what floppy disks are. Well, let me tell you. I don't either. Do your own freaking research. So, the father and son then get arrested by Japanese officials, and they are taken to, where else? The zone where the accident happened. Of course, it turns out Bryan Cranston, yes, I know his name, was right, and they're covering something up. A giant thing that's constantly making noise and occasionally knocks the power out. So, after an edition of Brian Rants, the giant thing spits out a giant living thing, which attacks. Alright, a monster for Godzilla to beat the juice out of. If he ever decides to show up in this movie. So, after the monster attack, Cranston dies, and his son is filled in on what the creatures are. It turns out they were created when a nuclear sub hit the bottom of the ocean and woke them up. This caused Godzilla to show up, and now he's going to restore balance to nature. So, the monster, or Muto, as it's called in this movie, is in Hawaii feasting on a Russian nuclear sub. My wife came to see this movie with me, and by this part, she leaned over to me and asked, "Is that supposed to be Godzilla?" I would have divorced her then and there, but, you know, I had a movie I wanted to watch. Finally, about the hour-minute mark, who decides to show up? Gamera. That's right, trucking Gamera, Godzilla's old box office rival. Wow, I don't know how Legendary Pictures got the rights to use Gamera, but if he's the other monster in this movie, then it'll be great to finally see him and Godzilla duke it out. So, with one monster left to appear, it turns out that in Nevada, another specimen was being kept in a nuclear waste facility. Is this Godzilla? No! It's King Kong! What? You have Gamera, King Kong, and this trucking monster that nobody cares about, but no Godzilla? Oh, of course. We can't have Godzilla in a movie that's called Godzilla. It doesn't make any sense. That's typical Hollywood right there. That's it. I couldn't stand it. I got so mad that I woke up from that crazy dream I was having. Yeah, it turned out that I got knocked out by this big buff guy because I tried to steal his son's M&Ms. Well, sorry if I feel that paying $15 for a box of milk duds is ridiculous. Anyway, I was out cold for the rest of the movie. So, what did I do? I went to see it again, but this time I was half conscious. So, it's not Gamera who shows up in Hollywood, but the big man himself, and he's ready to kick some grass. Oh yeah, it's going down now. Big G is gonna make Mudo meat out of that. We interrupt this review for a special announcement. Oranges are orange. And now, back to the review. Oh man, that was an awesome fight. I hope you guys saw it because this movie cut into something else and I didn't see what happened. So, after another Mudo turns up in Las Vegas, the science guy says that the two Mudos are going to meet each other, but the army comes up with a plan to lure them into San Francisco with a nuclear weapon and killing them and Godzilla in the process. So, we see more of the Mudos destroying crap. Hey, I came to see Godzilla, not these Cloverfield ripoffs. Give me the big man! My wish is granted as Godzilla shows up in San Francisco Bay and the army tries to shoot at him. Of course, it doesn't do jack crap. So, the army decides to let Godzilla fight the Mudos, who have formed a nest in San Francisco. Okay, it's going down now. Let's see some good old-fashioned monster violence. So, Godzilla manages to dispatch of the male Mudo, but a giant skyscraper falls on him in the process. Come on! You can kill a man's wife at the beginning of a movie, but why take Big G with you? It's not fair! So, the female Mudo is still causing havoc, but then, who shows up again but my man, as he takes out the monster with one blow of his trademark atomic breath, and he roars in victory. And I was cheering in the theater while people were throwing their popcorn, sodas, and pumpkins at me. All hail the king, baby. But Big G falls down once again. No! Why? So, the people are trying to recover from all the destruction as Godzilla continues to lay down. But the movie ends like that. Screw that! Godzilla actually gets back up. Oh yeah! Never count out the king, baby! Godzilla then jumps into the Pacific Ocean, where he swims off in victory, and I feel that a piece of my childhood that was taken and ripped from me has been put back together and given back, with a huge chocolate cake to boot. So, that's the new Godzilla movie. And it's freaking amazing! This movie was everything I wanted it to be, and more. A heck of a lot more. It focused a lot on the perspective of humans, but unlike Cloverfield, it's not plagued by shaky camera movements, and you actually see what happens. While the movie teases the monster action for most of the movie, the final half hour makes up for it as it's an all-out brawl. Godzilla is actually portrayed as the king of the monsters, and he proves why he's my childhood icon. The human characters aren't very three-dimensional, but the actors do well with what they have, especially Bryan Cranston and Ken Watanabe. The movie doesn't forget the origin of Godzilla, and the talk of dangers of nuclear weapons is still there, and there's an overall message that nature bites back. Finally, it's a Godzilla movie. That's all you need to know. While I can't say that everybody will like it, I'm sure that we can all agree that it feels more like a traditional Godzilla movie than that other one. Sure, it doesn't compare to the classics, but by Hollywood standards of rebooting franchises that don't belong to them, it is a masterpiece. This movie was well worth the wait, and I'm glad it's becoming a success. It will open the doors for more Godzilla movies in the future. I'm sure that Toho will get a boost of inspiration to bring their icon back to the screen in the land of the rising sun. I'm Benthelooney, and I have to go treat some bruises that I got from flying pumpkins.